King Charles makes history in Washington, D.C. as the second British monarch to address a joint Congress. It comes at a strained moment in the U.S. and U.K.'s relationship. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the details from the King's speech.
Today, a red carpet, a military flyover, and a firm handshake forged the path for diplomacy in the British royal couple's official state visit in Washington. King Charles and Queen Camilla made their way from the White House to Statuary Hall, the king attending bilateral meetings with Trump and congressional leadership before addressing the entire House and Senate.
Whatever our differences, whatever disagreements we may have, we stand united in our commitment to uphold democracy.
It's just the second joint meeting between Congress and a British monarch ever. The first was 35 years ago when the King's mother, Queen Elizabeth, was met with a standing ovation.
The best progress is made when Europeans and Americans act in concert.
Clouding the pageantry today are major political differences: the war with Iran, back and forth tariffs, and ongoing investigations about Jeffrey Epstein's international sex trafficking network. A group of Epstein survivors were on Capitol Hill today meeting with Representative Ro Khanna. The king declined a request to meet with those survivors directly, citing fears of interfering with the investigation. During his moment in the spotlight, the king referenced overall challenges facing each country and the importance of enduring them together.
Ours is an indispensable partnership. We must not disregard everything that has sustained us for the last 80 years.
Tomorrow, the royal family will travel to New York to visit the September 11th memorial, then come back to D.C. to commemorate 250 years since America's independence from Great Britain. Their visit ends on Thursday. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
And for the second time, the U.S. Justice Department is targeting former FBI Director James Comey. Comey was indicted today on charges related to a social media post he made last year, according to sources. Comey's post featured a picture of seashells on the beach with what Department of Justice officials are saying was a message threatening Trump. Last September, the DOJ brought charges against Comey, accusing him of lying to Congress over leaks to the press. The case was dismissed. Comey's team has yet to issue an official response to the new charges. Now, the Trump administration signaled it was unlikely to accept Iran's latest proposal to end the conflict. Iran's proposal seeks to take tolls from ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz in exchange for reopening the waterway. Officials say Iran is also attempting to hold off on nuclear talks until a future date, which Secretary of State Marco Rubio says is the reason we went to war in the first place. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin met with Iran's foreign minister in Russia and promised his support in seeking peace.
The Straits is basically the equivalent of an economic nuclear weapon that they're trying to use against the world. And they're bragging about it. They're putting up billboards in Tehran bragging about how they can hold 25% or 20% of the world's energy hostage.
And today, the United Arab Emirates announced it's withdrawing from OPEC effective Friday. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries is a massive oil cartel led by Saudi Arabia. The move comes amid regional fallout in the Gulf amid the Iran war, which has triggered one of the worst oil shocks in history. 3 to 4% of the world's crude supply comes from the UAE. Oil prices climb amid continued worries over the Iran war. Today, Brent crude oil climbed to $111 a barrel in early morning trading, and U.S. gas prices have jumped to the highest point since August 2022. According to AAA, regular gas is averaging $4.18 a gallon, and here in Iowa, the average is $3.72. Analysts say prices could climb even more, possibly hitting $4.30 a gallon in the next 10 days. Local 5 has your back if you need help finding the lowest gas prices in the area. Just text GAS to the number on your screen. That is 515-457-1026, and we'll send a list straight to your phone. Well, the Pentagon can require escorts for journalists inside the building for now. The federal appeals court decision pauses a lower court order that restricted the Pentagon from implementing the policy, requiring journalists to be escorted by authorized department personnel. A spokesperson for the New York Times says the ruling only grants an emergency stay pending a decision on the Pentagon's appeal. The New York Times filed the lawsuit challenging the Pentagon's press policies late last year, saying it violates its First Amendment and due process rights. Now, 2 days after the attack at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the Trump administration is demanding they be allowed to continue building President Trump's $400 million ballroom. Without approval, Trump tore down the east wing of the White House to build a ballroom with a military hub below it. The project is facing some legal hurdles, a lawsuit claiming the White House violated the law by moving forward without congressional approval. Well, now the Justice Department is asking a judge to dismiss an injunction in the case.
The line of secession in this country should be able to gather freely in safety without the fear of threats or political violence, and the White House ballroom will provide that, and so it's critical that we get this project done as quickly as possible.
Republicans are now proposing 2 bills to move the ballroom along. One would provide $400 million in taxpayer funding. The other would allow for the construction to move forward with private funding. Both bills are likely to face trouble. They need 60 votes to pass, and it seems unlikely that Democrats would join in. The Department of Homeland Security has been shut down for 10 weeks, the longest in history. Lawmakers are under increased pressure to pass funding. The agency has been sounding alarms. It's almost out of money. It had been paying workers through a rainy day fund that aides say is almost depleted. If funding does lapse again, more federal workers, including Secret Service agents, may miss paychecks. And today, federal agents conducted raids in the Minneapolis area as part of an ongoing fraud investigation. A federal official says 22 search warrants were executed by the FBI and law enforcement agencies. Sources say most of the locations being searched appear to be recipients of Medicare funding, including child care centers. The Trump administration has alleged fraudulent use of federal funding by Somali businesses, leading to a federal investigation. A federal official says the raids aren't connected to immigration enforcement. However, an ICE unit called Homeland Security Investigations says it's involved in the operation.